APRA are essentially a licensed monopoly, though, in Australia. So in the US, you've got 2 versions of collecting societies, and in the UK, there are 3, and in Australia, we only have 1. So have you ever felt a resistance to this, to being a monopoly, and has there ever been a conversation of a duopoly?
Yeah, so look, not to get into terminology, but we're an authorised monopoly rather than licensed. So,
okay.
So we voluntarily take ourselves off to the ACCC as the watchdog, the competition watchdog, to say we're the only people in the market in this territory that do what we do. We collect the rights, so we've got all the rights, so people have to come to us in order to get a licence to do what they want to do. So we recognise ourselves that there's a fair degree of marketplace power in our hands, and that brings enormous responsibility. So the process of working with the ACCC and submitting ourselves to that process is to make sure that we are providing a public benefit. And when I say public benefit, that's a benefit to our members and also to our licensees. And the process we've just been through, we've just come through an authorisation process now, is to give the opportunity to both our members and licensees, and anybody else, quite frankly, to express their view about our behaviour in the market. It's a very detailed process that we take really, really seriously. And like any of those sorts of processes, you learn a lot about yourself. You might think you're doing well in a particular market, but lo and behold, you hear back from people to say, no, I'm not happy with how you've worked in that space.
Is this similar to what public companies might do? If they have?
No, not typically, but it is. We are the only player in this space, in this territory. As you said earlier, in the US, there's actually 4 organisations in the US who administer the sorts of rights that we administer. So as a songwriter or composer in the US, you can put your rights with any one of those 4. You've got a choice. And licensees have a choice in terms of who they deal with. So in that context, it's handled differently. In the UK, there's only PRS, so they're a bit like us, like the Australian context. And
did I get it totally wrong? I thought I said 2 in the UK and 3 in the UK and 2 in the US. I just butchered that completely. Didn't
yeah, but
I?
that's okay.
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's multiples in other areas. All right,
Yeah.
Other territories are different.
But the norm, when I say the norm, in most territories there is only one, and the reason for that is it is the most efficient. So if it's costing us 12 or 14%, that range to administer rights, you don't necessarily want 3 or 4 different organisations, in my view, trying to do the same thing, all trying to work out how to distribute money efficiently back to members. Everyone's spending money doing the same thing. In terms of going to licensees, having to deal with a number of different organisations. In the Australian context, we've gone dramatically the other way to try and make it as simple as possible. So we created One Music Australia, which was a joint licensing initiative with PPCA, which is the licensing arm for ARIA in the record industry, to say that when a hairdresser needs a licence, they don't need to deal with the complication of, I need an APRA licence for public performance for the musical work, and I also need one from PPCA for the sound recording. Way too complicated. So we launched One Music in 2019 to say it should be a one-stop shop for most licensees. Keep it simple. And it also means that we can keep the administration to the bare minimum and minimise those costs, maximise the return going back to songwriters on our side and recording artists on the PPCA side. So that's a long-winded way of saying the monopoly piece is something that we never take for granted. We understand that we hold a monopoly position, and it's incumbent on us to always prove we provide a benefit. Otherwise, there would be an argument to say, well, why doesn't somebody else set up shop here? And somebody else could set up shop. There's nothing to stop somebody else setting up another society here to do what we do.
But in your opinion, songwriters would be financially worse off if that did happen?
Look, obviously, if you're talking straight commercial terms, there's a lot to pull together to be able to set up another society that does the sort of thing that we do. But the US is the example of where it has happened. So, but look, it's...
And is it successful in the US? Do you look, how is it going over there with 4?
But the US has a completely different legal context and framework as well. So there's the different societies over there. ASCAP has been around for 100 years and BMI has been around a long time as well. So there's a long history of different societies representing different interests, and our history evolved differently. So, obviously the arguments we put forward when people ask us these questions, we say, look, we think this is the most efficient way of doing it, but, it's incumbent on us to convince you of that. And if you're not convinced, then keep putting the argument forward.
Would you love for just another player to enter the market just so you can prove the amazing job you're doing and be like, see, it's not that easy?
I don't know about that. No, I'd hope people just believe that we're doing a wonderful job. And look, I think things like your satisfaction rating from your members, your expense to revenue ratio, the fact you've launched One Music that provides a better service to licensees, I would hope it's those things that are the measures of success, that the breadth of the constituency that we deal with look at and go, you know what, all in all, they do a fairly good job. And on top of that, you do the advocacy and everything else to try and help at a broader industry level. So, hopefully most people think we're doing a reasonable job.